Thank you everybody for attending today. Just some notes before we get started. If anyone has any questions, you have the opportunity to either press the button to raise your hand or submit your question directly to us via the Q&A box. You can do this throughout today's webinar, and we'll be sure to sync up at the end and have an open Q&A session and bring your question to the front. And if you don't have any questions, throughout, you can save it to the end and submit at the end as well. So today we'll be hosting a webinar with our executive team. We'll be talking about areas of the company, updates from marketing, ad operations, sales, all that and the above. We'll be joined today by the 1World online CEO, Alex Fedosov. I will be talking about our 1World Republic crowdfunding campaign. Emily Caton will be taking on customer success. Maria Shapoval will be taking on engineering updates, and Wale Faroon, our regional updates. Alex, would you like to get started?
Yes, thank you, Sup. And thanks everybody for joining. This is an exciting time for us because we have a lot of good news to share. So let me share my screen. Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let me go through highlights of our business in first half of 2020. We finished in Q2, but I think it's already pretty clear about the trends, how company is doing, and have a lot of good news to share. So let me walk you through some updates one by one at a high level, and then the team members will give you more details. First of all, there's a steady progress on the 1World product. We continue developing both parts of our product, the solution for advertisers and solution for publishers. So we have many new features implemented on our platform. So Maria, our project manager from engineering team, will talk about this. What I want to tell everybody that we continue doing our agile development, which means that we have releases every 3 weeks. This is really remarkable because it means incremental value that we deliver to our customers. And they usually come from two sources. One is our roadmap. So we continue developing features that we planned for a while, and also immediate improvements or integration points for our customers, which is also we do all the time, especially when you have a new account to launch, like new publisher typically that has certain requirements. We usually accommodate their needs very quickly. Second is that we continue deploying really big size publishers. Some of them went live since our previous webinar. There's a lot of energy going on in Africa, which we'll hear directly from our head of business development there, but also some American and European side, Politicide or the Good Times and others. Emily will talk about that. In terms of advertisers, as we all know, the money always comes from advertisers, so that's important for our business. Suk will talk about 3 remarkable wins. We're getting clients coming from Republic, the same platform that we're using for our own fundraising as a test. And more importantly, we're developing Republic into a sales channel. So we have 3 deals signed since previous webinar, just through this one channel, and there are many others in making. So we definitely are going to share with you next time when I have our next webinar. But this is going well despite of the overall market situation, and we continue building channels. We prefer channels over individual accounts because that usually creates scalability for the business. I'm also very happy to announce that we extended our team and hired head of operations out of Denver, Colorado, a very senior person. And I'll show you the diagram with our team members around the country and internationally. Also very happy that our team in Africa added 2 new team members. They're both on this call. So welcome, Nikki and Veronke. Really great to have you on board. And this is the most dynamic region. So we definitely need people there to manage all these accounts that keep arriving. I'm really happy also about our ongoing strategic partnership with Pillar, the world's best, I would say, mobile wallet, because not only we have now ability to keep the tokens, but we did first successful airdrop project with them, which means that accounts can be created dynamically and distribution of tokens can be done through this new solution. This is great from user experience perspective, because as we know, technology is important, but also nice user experience is a must for mass adoption. So now we cover all three parts, publishers, advertisers, and users, having all these nice tools and experiences. And in terms of PR, 1World was getting a lot of attention recently. You're probably watching our social media. We'll definitely remind you about the places online where you can see our progress. It's Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all other channels. So recently we were interviewed by one of major Indian TV stations, ET, Economic Times, and we answered many questions about our business, our plans for the future, and so on. And it came also with a few publications, interviews, articles about Web 3.0 development. So there'll be some links for you to look at them. So that's a high-level picture. And just to mention a few things about overall market, you've probably seen a nice presentation last time by our team members, Professor Augie Grant and Brad Caton, about the market trends. I just want to remind people that are new to 1World and learning about how we fit into overall picture of the world. But we definitely interested in space, and it's very exciting because despite of the advertising spending going down, we believe temporarily, of course, because of COVID-19 situation, but the online activities, people spending time and engaging, reading content, responding to questions is going up. And this trend we see across all the 1World deployments, US and globally. So as a result, even though advertising CPMs, for example, decreasing, but the volume of traffic is increasing, and we keep a pretty healthy business. And this is a good place to be because, of course, after recovery, when economy goes up again, we really have a lot of new wins and a lot of new deployments. Because usually now in our business conversations, when we do presentations to publishers, big or small, it doesn't take too much time to convince them and agree to deploy 1World platform because it brings additional revenue. It definitely brings additional engagement, and publishers are very willing to go forward. So the problem is turning into opportunity, like it happens all the time. I also want to remind everybody about our value proposition. The solution for advertisers usually means that we can do better targeting and better conversion rates, and also get some intelligence about the audience. For publishers, we increase engagement, but also as a result of it, increase revenue because people spend more time on their site, they do more things, have longer sessions, and the deployment of 1World tools usually means additional inventory. So that's why publishers benefit very, very significantly. And audiences, engagement and incentives. So we give people incentive for registration for things they're doing online. And as a result, we call it a win-win-win model. So all three parties benefit. And if you want to summarize the value proposition of 1World platform when it comes to publishers and do business development, we usually say that engagement comes first, and it's interactive, nice experience. Monetization is coming usually in the form of ads, syndication. So we can use our own advertising tag, or we can take one from publisher. We support both models. And retention means that people will be more interested to keep coming to the same site because they get incentives for what they're doing online. So that's our pitch to the publishers. And I also want to remind people who might not aware of our platform and all components. 1World consists of front end, back end, the incentive solution, and the advertising tools. So for engagement, we're using a variety of widgets. The highly customizable, and people can deploy our polling widget, which is most popular, but we have many advanced formats. We have quizzes, trivia feeds, debates, where you can see two opinions, and other formats, and open API to create your own experience. So front end is very diversified and very easy to deploy, by the way, because it usually takes only copy paste of the piece of JavaScript code to get running on the publisher side. Then on the back end, we have a lot of intelligence. Of course, we have all kind of monitoring, content creation tools, and also analytics. So you can see exactly how your tools are performing, from posts to widgets to specific deployments on specific partner and their partitions. And we have nice plugins that allow the use of artificial intelligence for good. For example, we have one component that the engineer will talk about that allows to match poll questions to the article based on AI. We also have a plugin from IBM Watson that allows profile people and based on their behavior online and do better targeting. And the third component is incentives. So we have our token economy deployed since 2017, and people who participate, they keep earning points. They can be redeemed into tokens. So this allows people to get into the system with a registered account, get a wallet, and start operations, receive and send tokens. And as you can imagine, with all this intelligence, of course, there's a room for much better advertising efficiency. So we see very high CPMs. Like, for example, just last month, we received a report from our main partners, Times Group of India. We have a lot of projects on the go. And some of the campaigns we ran on their properties, they on average, they go 0.5%, which is way above industry average. But on some good deployments, it goes up to 1%. And this is before optimization. We're actually doing one more run in June and hope to see this CPMs going even higher. So no wonder advertisers want to work with 1World and use our tools. And this is a quick refresh about our team around the globe. So really happy to have now operations team in Denver, Colorado. Emily, who is on the call, will talk to customer success. She's based in New Hampshire. And we have many team members around the globe, from Eastern Europe to Africa to India, Japan, and UK. And these are team members across the globe. So really happy to have such a strong team. And I think we have pretty much everybody we need to scale our business, but there could be an opportunity of opening more offices around the world. We'll talk about this mostly end of this year, but so far so good. We have our major focuses on North America, India, Africa, and a little bit of Europe, which we're probably going to cover next time on the webinar, because we have a few very interesting proposals out to European publishers, and they have many self-registrations. Emily going to talk about this. This is another great phase in our history that we enjoying a lot of publishers and advertisers coming to our platform and registering to use our system. So it's pretty much a self-contained service and makes it easier from operational perspective. And with this, I'll transition back to Suk.
Thank you, Alex. Let me share my screen.
While Sukhdin is here, please feel free to ask your questions by typing them into chat or raising your hand.
All right. Here we go. Great. So thank you, Alex, again. I'll be talking today a little bit about Republic, our campaign, how it's going, and a few updates around things that we're revolving around Republic as well. We're actually incorporating a few companies within Republic to use 1World as well. Starting with Republic, if you're not familiar with it already, Republic is a crowdfunding platform that allows anyone to invest in startups for equity. We had the opportunity to launch our campaign just about a month and a half ago, and very, very proud to announce that just about 2 weeks ago, we hit our minimum funding goal, which was 107,000. We're at, I think, 116 today, and we will be running the campaign until December 31st. So this is a really, really great accomplishment. We really appreciate, if you're an investor now on the call, we really appreciate you. Thank you very much. The campaign will be forwarding resources too. If you're not familiar with our campaign, we'll forward you a link to it after this webinar today. But like I mentioned, our funding goal was 107,000, but the actual ceiling that we can hit is $1 million. And we really do hope to get as close to that as we can. We have about 6 months left, so we have a lot of runway left ahead of us. And if you're curious about a succinct way for us to get our message across, 1World, who we are, what we do, we have a very, very simple and concise deck that's basically presented on What Republic that showcases the problem, how we see ourselves, so on and so forth. In addition to this, we actually found an opening, an opportunity when positioning our own campaign on Republic to say, hey, how can we help companies who are crowdfunding themselves? So one thing that we did was, you'll see on the left side, we wanted to prove out our own campaign. So we basically, right now, all across the internet, you're able to see a widget, just like the one you're seeing here, Are you taking advantage of the stock market downturn? That's our, our 1World widget that we have displayed on websites around the web. And just below it is an ad that relates to our campaign. So a user right now is on the web interacting with this widget and having the opportunity to actually click on the banner below it. To the right side for Genobank, that's another company that is actually raising money on Republic as well. And just for them, we have a tailored, unique widget. Who should have access to your DNA? It's a health tech product, and below it's a static ad as well. So there's actually a few more companies in our window that are going to be launching in the next coming weeks. So this is a really, really interesting opportunity. If you're not familiar with it already, crowdfunding is really going to be disruptive in the world. People are guessing that venture capital is going to have an interesting take on how they're going to be investing in the future, considering that governments around the world are allowing average citizens to actually invest for the first time in companies. So this is a really, really awesome opportunity. We see a fit in how we can help these companies. And we look forward to updating everyone on how these going forward. In addition to this, our Republic campaign is actually connected directly to a reality TV show that our CEO Alex was able to pitch on. It actually aired in April, so about 2 months ago, and it aired on Sony TV and YouTube and everywhere else. And we can forward you a link to this as well. The show is basically a Shark Tank-like show where entrepreneurs get to pitch their startups in front of a few judges, in this case, the Drapers. The Drapers are venture capitalists that are very, very well known in the Silicon Valley. And this is a really, really great opportunity. And we can, again, forward you the YouTube link after this webinar here. And in addition to that, just recently, Alex was able to do an interview on ET Now. This is a very, very popular channel in South Asia. And it has to do with, Alex having a Q&A session with someone who really does tackle the direct questions just as we are doing today. So we'll also forward a link to this as well after the webinar. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll forward this along to Emily.
Thanks, Suk. So let me share my screen. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Emily here, and I will be discussing some of 1World's successes we've had, starting with publishers. In the fourth quarter of 2019, we had several
Emily, I don't think we can see your screen yet.
Oh, okay. Oh.
There you go.
I'm sorry about that.
There you go.
Let me go.
Perfect.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Emily here, and I will be discussing some of 1World's successes we've had, starting with publishers. In the fourth quarter of 2019, we had several successful deployments on Tier 1 publishers. First was Newsweek. Last October, we created over 200 polls in 2 days for full site deployment. In the last 6 weeks, and just 6 weeks after, 1.75 million votes were cast, added 530,000 unique voters, increase in draw time by 22%, and over $65,000 in ad revenue was earned. To date, we have created about 3,400 unique polls from Newsweek, which have generated well over 5 million votes. Not only did we produce polls, we also created several quizzes that were deployed as well. In the beginning of March 2020, we deployed this Democratic candidate ID quiz, which generated over 72,000 views, 30,000 participants, and over 680,000 votes. And in 1 week, just in 1 week, one day receiving over 300,000 votes. As you can see by this engagement graph here. This is the quiz votes right here, over 300,000. Another highlight from 2019 was IBT media deployment. 1World platform was deployed for 5 partner publishers: ibtimes.com, Medical Daily, London Times, Player One, IB Times UK. We deployed our widgets over 33 featured categories in the middle of December 2019. Our team has created over 3,200 unique polls that have received over 1 million votes since full deployment. Since then, we have also deployed on many other online publisher sites, including some from Silicon Valley, Philippines, Europe, and UK. We have also successfully deployed in the African region, which has been a huge success and has received incredible boosts of engagement using 1World Polar widgets. As you can see from this engagement graph from Punch in Nigeria, in the beginning, at the far left, you can see just when our Polar was in the testing stage. And then as you get towards the middle, it was full deployment. And then at the end, when we were fully deployed on mobile. So you can see the jump in the engagement from beginning in the testing period to full deployment across desktop and mobile. Very exciting. Let's see, sorry. With all these successes in the US and Africa and other regions, in the last couple of weeks, we have seen a huge increase in self-registrations in Latin America, Eastern Europe, US, Asia, and Africa. Not only are our polls and quizzes very engaging, we also have trivia, which has been a huge success in engaging our publishers' audiences, like this one from COVID-19 trivia, as well as surveys that we have deployed as well. So a big project this summer is what we call our town meeting debate series that we hope to offer to several publishers. Debates about national debt, US elections, universal income, healthcare, and so on. Now onto new product features. Our engineering team has created many great features to the platform, including insight pages. Our poll automatically generates insight pages. Each poll links to an insight page that reveals fascinating and engaging findings, percentage of votes on each answer option, links to related articles and polls, as well as breaking the findings down by gender and geography, and also comparing by answer on other partner sites. Another product feature we have, also generating daily poll snapshots as a new exciting format of auto-generated content based on audience polling that we post daily on all social media channels. The next feature is called what we call Smart X. It's artificial intelligence engine where articles will be automatically linked to relevant polls, making the audience experience more engaging. And that pretty much does it for me.
Thanks, Emily. Let's transition to Vol. Vol, can you please pick up the screen share?
Emily, can I use your screen with the slides if you don't mind?
Yeah, Emily, please continue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you don't mind.
Sure.
Or I can do it for her, Emily. Go for it, Wal.
Okay, got it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. My name is Wale Farun. I lead the business development efforts in the African region. I'm based in Atlanta here in the US, but I'm originally from Nigeria. Recently, we got 2 people to join the team as well, looking after content and managing the accounts that we're generating in the region. If you can move to the next slide, thanks. Yeah, so, you know, the African continent presents a lot of opportunities that for the most part are untapped. And if you look at some of the very high level demographic information about that, continent, you start to see what I'm talking about. There's a population of over 1 billion people across about 52 countries. The mobile penetration in the last decade has been incredible. So Africa we jumped from not having internet to internet, then straight to mobile penetration. So we skipped like good 20 years that, other continents, sort of did in evolving where technology is concerned. Several countries around the continent, steady GDP growth, some very impressive. You can look at markets like South Africa, like Nigeria, like Ghana, and Kenya as leading emerging, market from an economic standpoint in that region. And then there's a steady growth of, apart from the internet and social media penetration, there's a strong, lifestyle and culture that drives content and content engagement. And when you put all this together, you begin to see that, publishers in that region will see the 1World proposition as a big opportunity for them to drive active engagement with audience that is young, vibrant, as well as to drive incremental revenue through, a very distinct and differentiated product offering, like 1World. And that's exactly what we saw when we started unlocking the potential of that market earlier this year. As you can see, in Nigeria, we've engaged quite a number of publishers, and we've signed agreements with all the publishers that you can see on the screen. A few of them are type 1, top of the line publishers like Punch that Emily spoke about. That's the leading news publication in the country, both print and even online. And we have quite a number coming into the fray as well. So we're very excited about the Nigerian market. We've also seen in recent weeks a lot of self-registration because of the activities that they are seeing on some of these leading publications in the country. We've extended our reach to Ghana as well. So we've signed a contract with graphic.com.gh. That's one of the top 5 online publications in Ghana as well. They're currently going through their implementation cycle with 1World, and we're hoping that over the next week or two, the 1World widget will appear on their website as well. We have a couple of ongoing conversations in the South Africa market as well. One of them is second biggest online publication in the country, and they have about 24 different publications from finance to sport to specific Sunday or weekend publications. So we're very excited about that conversation. That's ongoing. We started reaching out to folks in eastern part of Africa as well. So I started talking to publications in Uganda and Kenya, and we're hoping that over the next couple of weeks we'll start seeing traction in that region as well. So overall, I think the Africa region presents a very unique opportunity. Like I said, the traction that we're getting is very exciting, and we're hoping that over the next few months, we'll see a lot more in that region as well. Next slide. So the other part of this, when Alex was talking about not just perspective of the publishers, but looking at advertisers as well. And even for this region, given the group that we're speaking with, there's 1World also brings opportunity for us to socially engage and talk about social impact issues that affect people of that region. Some of them that are well documented: access to healthcare, infrastructure, wealth distribution, financial inclusion, which is a topic I'm very passionate about, and climate change. And with this widget and the kind of content that we can create, working with, there's a unique opportunity to work with leaders of these countries, you know, at the ministry, federal level, ministry level, portfolio, to help them get relevant information that can help solve problems in healthcare and infrastructure and wealth distribution. And we're working very closely with Alex's leadership to see what can be done with this, looking at this from this perspective, to collect and gather information that can give us insight into how to solve social issues in that region. And I think that the continent welcomes that, and it's going to be an added advantage or added value proposition that we can create for all stakeholders. Publisher loves this because through their platform, we're helping to solve social issues. You know, government and regulators will embrace this, and with that, we can open up doors and opportunities, not just in this region, but across the entire continent. So that this is something that gives us, you know, additional focus, you know, for the region. And I think this is something that is welcome, and this is something that we're pushing very passionately in that space. So these are some of the, you know, I think I've spoken about this. These are some of the current deployments and implementation that we've done in the region, where particularly we've made some good progress in Nigeria as a market in particular. Like I said earlier, Punch is a very, very strong publisher, and we're, you know, we're lucky to have we're fully deployed now. It took some time, but now the 1World widget is live, not just on the web part of their platform, but also on mobile, where they get over 80% of their interaction from audience happen on their mobile side. We're putting finishing touches to Business Day as we speak, expanding 1World widget to more of their categories. So that's ongoing. Not just OK is a different kind of publisher in the sense that it's not just OK, it's the biggest online music distributor or distribution channel across Africa, with strong presence in Nigeria, Ghana, and East Africa. We've recently finalized deployment of 1World widgets. We're just finishing up and putting some finishing touches to the technical side of things. But it offers us a window into a vertical outside of news. So this is fully lifestyle. We're watching to see what the engagement will be with lifestyle content. We're very excited about that, and we're watching. Both Vanguard, Guardian, and The Nation are all in the top 5 news publication category in the Nigerian market, and we're lucky to have all of them coming on board using the 1World widget to drive engagement and revenue across their platforms. Next. You know, same thing. I mean, these are the publishers that we're trying to either trying to close, or in the process of deployment, and all very, very exciting to be working with this big brands and big names in the region. I think that's it for me.
Great. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Wale. Maria, would you like for me to share my screen, or would you like to take over?
I would like to take over, please.
Okay, great.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Maria, and I would like to share with you our product update, approximately for the last month. Mainly, we were focused on tasks that are related to increasing revenue and displaying statistics and revenue sharing ratios in appropriate reports in our system. Sorry, one moment. Okay. I want to start with the SmartX feature. How does it work? If this option is enabled, the system will automatically fill up empty widget with the most relevant polls from the public library of the 1World system. The key advantage is an analysis of the content of the article and the formation of the list of polls in the widget related to the context. So we should not spend too much time for poll creation and tracking the most popular articles. The system will do it itself. Here we can see an example of SmartX widget in the site of one of our partners. The next update is that now we can add side ad units also for quizzes. This placement of units showed good results for polls widget, as there are more opportunities for ad clicks and accordingly for increasing revenue. Now partners are able to place ad units with any allocation for quizzes. The next significant update is related to Insight page where users can see additional statistics connected with a certain poll question. Many publishers don't have a custom Insight page, and in this case, the system uses the default Insight page. Previously, we didn't know about the number of views, clicks, etc. But now admins have an opportunity to see statistics about the default Insight page performance in the special dashboard here. Also, we've added a separate set of ad units for mobile Insight pages. Ad units for different devices should have different sizes. The set we've created provides an opportunity to add different ad tags for different devices types. It is a new way to monetize our traffic. The next big part of updates is related to campaign management business model. One of the major parts of the revenue management of campaign management is 1World fees and 1World obligations to the third-party services. We have implemented this part of the business model, and now admin can control and change the 1World fee, beeswax costs fee, and costs from the hyper-targeting services. Now we also have campaign management revenue reports that collects data about advertisers' activities and calculated 1World profit and costs for the third-party services. Admins can see information about total revenue per some period of time and can see reports by each separate advertiser. And currently we are working on the new role in the system called agent. It will be implemented soon. So the agent will have an ability to provide different actions on behalf of advertiser, such as editing, launching, managing campaigns, and also paying for campaigns. It's for advertisers' convenience and support. And that way, he or she won't have to do all these actions himself. It can do agent, which is assigned for him. So that are main updates from the engineering side, but development never stops. Now we are in progress of implementing new features, and I'm going to share with you our progress during the next webinars. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Appreciate it very much. I think this is a good time for everyone to submit their questions in Looks like we just got one in now. So if you can just use, either you can raise your hand, pressing the button, raise your hand, or press the Q&A button and just submit a question directly to us. That'd be awesome. And Alex will help just kind of answer these questions here. So we got one from Chris that asks, do you have patent or IP protection for your AI? Alex or Maria, can you discuss that?
Yeah, I can talk about this. Actually, there are two questions. One is about IP protection, and the other one is about receiving revenue. Yeah, let me go through both of them. In terms of IP protection, we have a few components in the system where we filed patent applications, and it's actually done internationally across US, European Union, and China. And this is in process. We're probably going to do another refresh submission soon because there's some changes in the IP legislation that we're anticipating. But in brief, yes, we do protect our IP. Also, in some cases, we're using already approved IP from our partners. For example, when we talked about artificial intelligence, we have two major partners. One is IBM Watson that everybody knows. We have relationships with them for many years, and we assigned part of their global entrepreneurship program. And we have a contract for using IBM Watson features. So that's covered by our licensing contract. And the other one, we have a relationship with a company in UK called Hipster. And that's what Emily and Maria showed today, when you can match the poll question to the article through this automatic AI-driven process. So this company is our emerging partner. So we have very good relationships, and we are in the process of formalizing our business interactions. So most likely we're just going to do revenue share-based model and license a platform to each other. So in other words, we do have protection both by our own submissions for patents and through partnerships licensing the solutions on the market. And one last thing I want to say about this, it's not just about protecting IP through patent applications, it's also about actually building know-how and capturing the big part of the market. Because once we get the critical mass, for example, in certain region, it's really hard for anybody to enter our territory because the size of the network and the amount of the traffic and activities, right, it also is a big asset, and it essentially protects itself because it's very hard to enter the market, which is already where we have dominating solution. And in terms of receive revenue, yes, thank you. That's a very good question. So we have actually two ways to receive revenue, but there's some options. The main revenue is coming from advertising. So our platform consists of the widget, which is deployed on many different sites, and advertising tag that usually is attached to the widget. This advertising tag could be generated by us, which is usually the case for small publishers, but also can be generated by the big publisher if they want to control revenue, like Newsweek or IBT, they're using their own tags. And in both cases, we get a revenue share, which could be anywhere between 20%, that's the case when they're driven by publisher, to 40%. That's the case when we have, for example, regional deployments. And in addition, we have revenue coming from insight pages. You heard about them many times today. These are automatically generated pages that live on 1World domain, and they supplement our widgets. So we usually do 50-50 split of that revenue. So it's really healthy that we create new inventory, we monetize and get half of the money for that. And the other business which is still going on is licensing, because we do have many partners that really like our platform and they can license it from us, which usually comes in two different flavors. One is a white label solution when we install the complete instance of 1World platform on their own domain and let them operate it. That actually makes total sense when a company wants to own all the data and be fully protected. So there's no sharing, it's just completely owned by them. And the second option is what's called hosted solution, when a partner creates account in our system and then they use our platform just within our own partition. So these are the ways how we make money. Yeah,
Great.
revenue share on advertising.
Yep. And our next question is comes in from Harish. What are your exit plans?
Yeah, thank you, Harish. So let me give you a little bit context about my previous exits, because I live and work in Silicon Valley since 1996 and been through 3 startups and 3 exits. It just probably I was lucky that all of them materialized. And as a matter of fact, some team members were part of it as well, including Brett Caton and others. So we've been through this together. And usually the way it works is that M&A is the most likely scenario, especially when a company grows and demonstrates very strong product development, good revenue numbers, and especially strategic value. They get in some either inbound offers from interested parties, or they can initiate the process of finding the right company to buy. So M&A is like 90% probability for 1World. There's still IPO potential, but this is not very likely, even though it's becoming better, like especially before the crisis, before the COVID-19. As you probably know, there are many successful IPOs, including some companies that we have relationships, like Pinterest went public. And of course, everybody knows about Zoom and Uber and others, Lyft. But I think what's important in our case is that we should be really watching and comparing our options against our company development. So if we continue going strong, we'll probably keep going strong ourselves. But if we see benefits for shareholders, for investors coming from strategic partnerships, we definitely will be open to exit when the circumstances align for us. Let me give you an example from my previous acquisitions. I was working in telecom industry and the cloud solutions and IoT and so on. And one time the key partner was AT&T, which is the biggest US operator. Another time Verizon, that all of you of course know them. So AT&T was part of acquisition for like 2 companies ago. There was a deal between Alcatel-Lucent, AT&T and Telmex from Mexico. They acquired 51% of the company. So it's a partial M&A. That's a very good scenario, by the way, when you get somebody really big to back you up and support your business. In my next company, which was a smart home solution, Verizon was my biggest customer. They invested in the company actually, and we did a lot of deployments together and integrations with the other technology solutions. And Verizon recommended Motorola and a few other incumbents to look at this company. And we ended up with a 6-month due diligence and an acquisition by Motorola Mobility, which was acquired by Google. So I think strategic partnership is the key. That's what I believe very strongly, because if you have relationships and you prove yourself over years, then it really comes nicely into M&A opportunity. We did enjoy 3 inbound offers at 1World, but they all came way too early, so we're not ready. So I think we'll be definitely open, and we can actually cover this topic. So maybe one of other times talk about the state of the market of native advertising and the strategic partnerships we're building to give our existing and potential investors a little bit more insight about different scenarios. I'm very open to it.
Absolutely.
It's a very good question, because of course we respect a lot the intention that people put in their money in the company, big or small, doesn't matter. And we want to give them a very clear picture in our strategy and scenarios about how we can be successful and provide a good return on this investment, like we did for our investors in previous companies. I hope to repeat it and make it even bigger and better.
Yeah, absolutely. We're treating this like a shareholders meeting, right? Where we can have
Of
a very
course.
fully transparent Q&A. If anyone has any more questions, please feel free to ask them in the meantime, I always think it's good, especially on these webinars, to show our attendees a live version of, 1World in the atmosphere, in the environment. So I can just share my screen, and Alex, you can talk. Maria, can you please allow me to?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I can just share my screen. Alex, you can talk through how we are. So I'm showcasing Newsweek now. Is my screen live?
Yes, it is live.
Great. Yeah. So for everyone who's curious about, how exactly are our widgets seen, this is one of our publishers, Newsweek, Tier 1, not only in the U.S. but worldwide. And on many of these articles here, as you scroll down and consume the content, what you'll see is a widget for 1World itself. And I have an ad blocker, unfortunately, being a user of this generation. Of course, I have an ad blocker. But if I share my screen in incognito, you'll be able to see our full. 1 second.
Yeah, it came up. Yeah, your advertising showed up.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Let's see, 1 second.
Which, by the way, so this is an excellent point. Let me share with our audience that ad blockers is a huge problem, of course, in the industry. And the fact that 1World provides engaging content, these widgets, which are not blocked by ad blockers, that's part of the solution, because you still get the people engaged, you still show them some interesting content, and advertising might be coming in a different formats, not just the programmatic, like the one that was just got blocked, and you can see now it's coming up, but also the revenue might be coming in a format of research questions, so we can make money by asking questions coming from brands that want to research the audience. And still we have our own inside page, which will show produce revenue. So there's an analytical component, there's interesting options to make money with or without ad blockers enabled. There's still options.
Exactly, yeah. And as you can see, I mean, all of these widgets are highly relevant to what's being consumed on the page, right? We're on a page now that's talking about coronavirus rates spiking across the country. We have a very tailored widget that showcases it. As you can see, 53,000 people have already seen this. 900, about 1,000 people have engaged already. In addition to this page itself, we actually offer an insights page. So whether you're a user, whether you're a publisher, whether you're even an advertiser, you can actually see the engagement across the country and have more points to actually position advertising as well. So this is a real live example, right, of 1World in the wild itself. Let's see here. Have any other questions? We don't have any other questions. Is there anything else that you want to talk about top of mind at all, Alex?
Yeah, we had some questions actually on Republic. Maybe I'll just recap quickly that people asked in our chat over there. I recall the last two. One was about the cap table and one about something about our roadmap, I guess. So the cap table, it's very easy, by the way. If you check on Republic site, there's a link to SEC form that we submitted called Form C. It does include some necessary information, and I think it does cover the cap table. Yeah, we issued 3 rounds of preferred shares, and we have common shares, and this is all covered there, so you can see the details. And in terms of roadmap, I think that's not a very good topic because many people are interested in these discussions on Republic and Telegram and other channels. What is the big focus of the company and what we're going to do next? I think Maria answered some of these questions in her presentation. Thank you for that. So we introduced a new role, which is called agent. I think it's huge because that really allows us to run VIP campaigns more efficiently, in addition to self-registered campaigns. Also, we developing the whole business around editorial. You probably remember we had this discussion about editorials, people who attended previous webinars. And this is materializing now. We have a few deals where editorial might become additional revenue stream for us. So programmatic, direct deals, and editorial. We see 3 types of advertising coming in. So we want to extend features in our campaign management tool to cover all 3. Okay. So currently we do 2, it's going to be 3. And one thing I want to mention, we have our quarterly business reviews happening every quarter, first month of the quarter. So next one is coming in early July. The whole team will be talking about our learnings from current deployments, customer needs, all kind of considerations. And we are going to be developing our strategy and our plan for next quarter, or refining our plan. Probably will be more accurate because the plan exists, but we keep adjusting it based on our customer needs. And this is a very good exercise. We always have something really nice coming out of it in terms of new product features or new needs. And you definitely going to see outcome of it in our next webinar. We'll share with you what else will be coming and how it's going to help us to grow our publisher network on one side, but also bring more advertising on the other side. Because usually that's how we can think about 1World. We're bridging together great publishers around the globe and advertisers who want to achieve much better conversion rates compared to traditional tools. Mm-hmm. Like in particular, a few agencies that want to work with us. In addition to Republic, that's already covered, like 3 deals that we're working on right now. There's a few agencies we're expecting pretty scalable size deals.
Right. Alex, we have another question coming in. Alex, Chris asks, does the individual user control the filtering of ads, or is it automatically set by the advertiser?
Yeah, there's 2 different types of ads. Chris, thank you for your question. The programmatic, ads are not controlled by anybody, no user, no publisher, because they come on from RTB, the real-time bidding exchange. And the only way user can control it is like Suk just demonstrated. If your ad blocker is on, you're not going to see it, right? In terms of the what the source of these ads, it could be also direct deals. So for example, if we want to deploy, let's say, a special advertising campaign on Newsweek or IBT or Times Group, one of our key customers. Can you hear me? By the way.
Yeah, we can hear you. It looks like Harish.
Somebody said no audio.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Harish, you can probably try unmuting and muting again, or maybe leaving and coming back. I can hear you fine, Alex.
Okay, let me finish here. Thank you. So essentially, just on the advertising, it can be controlled by either RTB, so real-time bidding, or it could be a direct deal inserted into the deployment. And we do it actually as part of 1World solution. If you have, for example, a Republic campaign, we want to run it on some of our digital properties or inventory, as we call it. Yeah, we can do it. So in this case, there's some control over what's coming, but it's not really controlled by end user. End user will see what is served on a specific page based on certain logic.
Great, awesome. Well, I think that sums it up for our questions for today. What we can do is we'll be forwarding, there's a lot of resources that we went through today. We'll be forwarding an email to all the attendees that will include all the resources. If you have any questions, again, feel free. The best place to ask these questions is directly on our Republic page via the discussion panel. We will be setting up another webinar in the next coming week or so. I think topically we have a few ideas already, so we'll be sure to throw it out before anything with our Republic channel. And I think that sums it up for us today. It looks like Harish is having some audio issues, but it looks like we have one more question. Sanjay asks us, Alex, what's the revenue projections for the next 5 years? Can you talk about that?
Great question. We actually just provided the forecast to the company who is doing 409A for us, a post-round assessment of our common shares. So we definitely want to, from our 2.4 million last year, we want to double it this year. That was the original plan, and we had the actual pipeline and the amount of traffic that supported it. Now, because of COVID-19, it's not as obvious, but consider this. We want to have incremental growth every year between 20 and 50%, right? In some cases, of course, we can make a big jump, especially when we open regional offices. So let's do this. Maybe I'll update about revenue projections next time. And this is something that usually we do very carefully, because there's the scenarios and our commitments, right? We want to make sure that when we do make our assumptions, all factors are in. Mm-hmm. But overall, of course, we're very aggressive. Believe me, we absolutely want to hit big numbers and deployments in terms of traffic, in terms of revenue. Of course, we should be careful given the change in economy right now, so it requires adjustment. But that's part of QBR, so we'll update you maybe after we have this quarterly business review and give you a better idea. But it's going to grow. How fast is still a question.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Alex. Thanks for everyone for attending. Again, we'll be forwarding out an email with all the resources, and we look forward to having you on our next webinar. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And talk soon.